All right, let's dive into something that really separates the casual AI user from a true power user: prompt engineering. We're going to move way beyond just asking simple questions. We're going to learn how to actually design systems that get powerful, predictable results from models like ChatGPT. Let's get into it.
You know, this quote really just nails it, doesn't it? Anyone can use AI. Anyone can ask it a question. But to engineer it, that's about precision. It's about control. It's about taking all the guesswork out of the equation and turning this thing into a tool you can rely on every single time. So, let me ask you this, and be honest. When you get a bad response from ChatGPT, what's your gut reaction? A lot of us, well, we just try again, maybe change a word or two and kind of hope for the best, right? The whole point of this explainer is to move you firmly into Camp C, to give you the tools to systematically figure out why a prompt failed and know exactly how to fix it. And that whole journey, it really starts with a huge mindset shift. This is probably the single most important thing you can do to get better results. We have to stop thinking of this like a search engine and start thinking like an engineer who's designing a system. This comparison says it all. You stop asking, what question should I ask? And you start asking, what system should I design? You go from just passively hoping for a good answer to being an active architect who is guiding the AI to exactly where you need it to go. This new way of thinking is built on three really simple principles. First, clarity over brevity. Don't be afraid to be long and detailed. Second, direction over correction. It's way easier to give good instructions up front than to fix a bad output later. And third, the big one we're focusing on, building systems instead of just asking one-off questions. Okay, so let's get practical. Our first tool is something called the zero-shot formula. Zero-shot is just a fancy way of saying you're not giving the AI a bunch of examples to copy. The goal is to get it right on the very first try with one well-built prompt. This is your foundation. This formula has 5 key parts. First, you give the AI a role to play. Then you give it the context it needs to understand everything. You follow that with a crystal clear task. Then you specify the exact format for the output. And finally, you lay out any parameters or rules. Every single one of these pieces adds another layer of precision. And just look at the difference it makes. A basic prompt like write a sales email is going to get you a generic, pretty useless response. But the engineered prompt, well, now you're defining the AI's role, the target audience, the key selling points. The results aren't just going to be a little better, they'll actually be something you can use. Okay, so once you've gotten the hang of the zero-shot formula, you're ready to level up and tackle some more complex stuff. And for that, we're going to break out the ROSES framework. Think of this as your prompt engineering power tool. ROSES is like the zero-shot formula on steroids. It's way more comprehensive. Where the first formula gives directions, ROSES gives a complete project brief. The key upgrades here are that you're specifying the expected solution, what a good answer looks like, and you're detailing the actual steps the AI should take. This gives you so much more control. I absolutely love this analogy for the scenario part. You're not just giving an order. You're a movie director setting the scene. You're providing the backstory, the characters, the constraints, everything the AI needs to ground its response in your world. Next up is a really powerful trick for getting the AI to think better. It's called chain of thought prompting, and the main idea is super simple. You make the AI show its work. So instead of just asking for the final answer, you actually instruct the AI to break down its thinking process one step at a time. This massively cuts down on errors, especially for things that need multiple logical steps, like a math problem or some kind of business analysis. Let's take a look at a really simple example. If you just ask ChatGPT this question straight up, yeah, it might get it right, but it also might just flub a simple calculation. You never know. But with chain of thought, you can pretty much guarantee accuracy. By telling it to think step by step, you're walking it through the logic. First, find the cheapest item. Okay. Then, calculate the discount. Got it? Now, find the original total. And finally, subtract the discount. See, this structured process makes it way more reliable. Okay, this is the final evolution. We're moving from being a user of these frameworks to becoming an architect of your very own. This is where you build a personal, reusable system that's perfectly optimized for your specific workflow.
So why would you even bother building a system? Well, the benefits are huge. You get consistency in your results every single time. You become incredibly efficient. It makes it way easier to collaborate with other people, and it allows you to scale up what you're doing without starting from scratch every time. And the idea is actually really simple. It's like building with Legos. You create these reusable blocks, a module for a persona, a module for a task, one for a process. Then you just plug them into a template. Need to switch from a marketing analyst to a financial analyst? You just swap out that one little persona module. It is that easy.
So, we've covered the mindset, we've gone over the tools, and we've talked about building your own system. But this isn't the end. This is really just the beginning of your journey to mastering this stuff.
And here's a little roadmap to help you on that journey. First, map out your most common tasks. What do you do all the time? Then evaluate the frameworks we've discussed and see what fits. From there, test different combinations, mix and match. And finally, adapt and refine your system based on your results. It's a constant cycle of getting better and better.
And by understanding all these concepts, you're not just a person asking questions and hoping anymore. You are now officially equipped with the mindset and the tools you need to engineer the precise outcomes you want and really harness this AI's full potential.
So that really brings us to the final thought. You're not just a user anymore. You're an engineer. You've seen the power of shifting from questions to systems. You have all the building blocks. The only question left is, what system are you going to design first?